Hey guys, welcome back to Black Gun. We have another interesting piece that we're going to talk about today. It's going to be the SP5 K. It is a little outside of the spec where it was delivered. We put a brace on this, naturally an aim point type sight, and then we used this pick rail that we added. And as far as I'm concerned, having a weapon like that void of these three items is pretty much as useless as tits on a bull. So we put it together in the configuration that I think everybody should use this weapon with in the first place. The brace that we used is a Tommy built, and we used their typical UMP Tommy built brace, and then we used the the adapter here, which was made by Brugger and Tomet. If you guys wanted to know the specifics. Midwest Industries Picatinny mount, and not a great sight I put on here. We're using a Sig Sauer Romeo 5, which is good enough as far as I'm concerned for this, for this particular demonstration. And what we'll do is we'll set it up. We're using a green dot. It's green in the inside, which is just a little different than the red dots. So, what makes this gun special? What makes it different than the SP5? Well, I brought an SP5 along, which is SBR'd, so we have the the true to form stock on this. And if we compare them, basically what you have is a full-size SP5 that looks like you put into the dryer and it's shrunk. The barrel's around 5 inches as opposed to the 8 and some inch barrel that you would get on the full-size model, and the receiver is pinched in a little bit. And as you can see, they have two plates welded on each side, which would prevent the use of any of the full-size stocks. Also, you'll see there are two pins here instead of the one pin variant. You have your typical drum iron sights, which are always a treat, but that would have been a treat in the 70s and 80s, 90s, coming into modern day shooting or having a modern day combat weapon. The aim point pretty much is a necessity. There's no doubt that this really upgrades and puts this weapon, into the forefront. So get yourself a pick rail if you're going to buy it. With that said, you can see there are little differences. Is it the same weapon? Form and function? Yes. Where I think a deficit is, and I'm probably regressing here, is I can get this weapon to shoot out to 100 yards, and we can use this in a tactical application, along with like regular rifles, like out to 100 yards we can start shooting in. This gets to be a little hairy out there. I really believe that this is going to be a 50-yard weapon and what I mean by in is this is your close quarter weapon if you're going to stick with this type of caliber and you're not using an assault rifle, or a platform similar to that effect. Anyway, I'm kind of excited to see how she shoots. So we'll load up. We'll get her out there. The other thing I want to touch on is the finish. They call this flat dark earth. As you can see, it's really not flat dark earth. I like it, but a lot of people think that it looks like baby shit, which is probably not far from the truth. It kind of like has that yellowish tint to it, but it's their flat dark earth or whatever you have it, and this is what they did. Now, what I do notice is that if you look inside particular areas, you're going to see that this is truly just a surface job. If you look inside the magazine well, you can see that it's not through and through flat dark earth, and I don't like that. In other weapons platform, when they make a flat dark earth weapon, it's finished through and through, H&K, I guess, didn't really feel like that was necessary on this aspect, but I can see, a little bit of imperfections, but hey, it's an H&K. With that said, we'll take it out and we'll see how she fires, and then we'll talk a little more about it. Well, I'll tell you what, we put a hell of a lot of rounds through this little thing. It is a lot of fun to shoot. In this configuration, anyway, it's a lot of fun to shoot. I think there is a lot of value to be had in this little SP5 K for sure. With a 5-inch barrel, I'm still reaching out past 50 yards very accurately. Doing a lot of combat drills, CQB combat drills. She's a breeze. The only problem that I seem to have would be on the magazine exchanges. There's no flared magazine well, so you really got to be dead on accurate, like when you're doing the magazine exchanges and getting it in there. It takes a little bit of time. It's not like you can't feel it to get it in there. So when you're doing these magazine exchanges on drills, make sure that you're up in your workspace so that you can keep an eye on your targets or your enemies or your threats or whatever you want to call them while you're doing those changes, because you don't have a lot of wiggle room with this magazine well. Outside of that, you're getting traditional H&K quality and accuracy. I really truly didn't feel that it was going to live up to all of the all the hubbub that the SP5, the full size, does, but I would tell you that I'm probably wrong in that assessment. This is a really nice weapon, and I'm hoping that I can get a couple more hours behind the trigger on this bad boy. All right, guys, with that said, thank you for checking in. Please like and subscribe. If you have any other information, I always say this with all the weapons we do, we'd like to hear from everybody. Please tell us in the message section what you think, and if you have one, what your thoughts are and what you found to be positive, and most importantly, what you found to be negative. I really haven't found too much, so I'm curious to see what you guys have to say. Thanks a lot, guys. See you guys at the range.